Hi Libra, welcome to your May 2020 Practically Soulful reading. This is your first time here. Thanks for watching. My name is Ali from Indigo Ascension. You can find out a little bit more about the work that I do as an intuitive energy healer and reader in the links below to my Facebook and my website page. My channel is targeted at those who identify as empaths, intuitives and sensitives, those that might be on an awakening journey. Integrating higher wisdom into the everyday practical realities that we find ourselves in, Libra, is essentially what that ascension journey is all about, you know, and that is my intention and my aim with my channel. So the monthly readings I call Practically Soulful because they are that higher consciousness, higher wisdom message from your higher self, your higher guidance system. And the goal then is then to integrate that into the everyday practical realities we find ourselves in, whether it be the classrooms that are relationships, experiences, challenges, career, soul path, purpose, all of that wonderful stuff. In my healing work, I refer to the 5 bodies and levels of being, so you'll hear me reference that throughout all of my readings, and that's, you know, that's about us being more than just a physical body. We are also an emotional body. We're a thought body, an energy body, and a soul, and how we balance and integrate and allow them to intertwine and work with each other is completely unique to us all. So they may come up in your reading as well, in your Practically Soulful reading. So I talk about the 4 quadrants. You can look at them as the 4 weeks, but they also might be in reference to those 4, you know, those elements within us. So we are more than just our higher guidance. That wisdom then grounds down into those 4 other levels of being as we process, transmute, and learn. So let's take a look at your energy for the month of May. Please know that all time is fluid, okay? So wherever you find yourself on the timeline watching this is exactly when you're needing it the most. It is designed to resonate with your sun sign. They used to be weeklies. I will be doing fortnightly readings now. In my weekly readings, I used to encourage the zodiacs to then go ahead and check their sun, you know, their moon sign, their rising sign, their Venus signs and whatnot. But with your Practically Soulful reading, this is a message from soul, okay? So your sun sign is your core essence. So it is essentially about you connecting into Libra as your primary zodiac, okay? These are the deeper wisdoms from core. So let's take a look. My dear Libra, lovely Libra, the humor card has shown up for you today. The surrender card crowns that. Below this is the imagination card. You're the second zodiac to get that one. In the past is friendship, and what you have coming up is peace. Now let's just say that's a beautiful reading. Underneath all of this, Libra, is the energy of forgiveness. Whether that means that there's been an element quite practical, you know, practically speaking, within a friendship, where there's been a necessary need to express a forgiveness or to forgive yourself for the roles you've played within friendships. The kind of friendships you have in your life too. As we move through these energies, Libra, and now, you know, the month of May offers all of the zodiacs, all of us, a retrograde period of 4 planets. You know, we've got Venus, Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all going in retrograde. Now, there's nothing scary, you know, when it comes to retrogrades. You know, you might see a lot of Facebook posts pop up about, oh, goodness gracious, retrograde this, retrograde that. It brings us to a still point. It invites us into authenticity, to review the journey that has been, to review the wisdoms that have been gained, Libra, you know. And I do see I'm talking to Libras here that have been integrating this energy of forgiveness and how vitally important it is as a release mechanism, yeah, as a untying and unbinding energy. That I'm not going to call it an energy, it's an unbinding and untying catalyst that assists us in letting go of energies long gone, you know. So take this however it resonates. I do see you're coming into a period of your life where you're truly surrendering into this process of faith unfolding, you know. Underneath all of this, you acknowledge that harboring resentment truly does block the flow of love. So letting bygones be bygones, letting the past remain in the past, and actually genuinely getting to a point in a timeline with a connection with yourself, with this energy of friendship, okay? And it doesn't even, you know, our greatest teachers are the ones that have crossed our path, that don't necessarily come packaged as friends per se. We can get as dynamic with mainstream terminology as we like. You might have discovered a frenemy. All souls cross our path for a reason. You know, I'm starting to think of the Celestine prophecy as I'm doing your reading. You know, it's, in a nutshell, it's about traveling that journey, traveling that ascension journey, that soul path journey, that learning about ourselves and seeing ourselves mirrored in all of the faces, all of the experiences that cross our path. You know, that's probably the most challenging, is acknowledging that and not denying it, that we too are in there somewhere. Yeah, I feel like I'm speaking to Libras that are genuinely surrendering to this energy of letting bygones be bygones, reviewing the past, in the sense that I do see now that I had to walk through that challenging experience within that friendship, or that person completely did cross my path to directly challenge a part of my shadow elements, my ego, that I was wanting on a soul level to deeply let go of, you know. I can go as high or as deep with that as I want with these cards, but I do see that you are in this process. What grounds you is the energy of surrender, Libra. And at the crux of this, at the center of all this, is humor. I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. Maybe you are reconnecting in with friendships and connections long gone. As we find ourselves in these times in ISO, you know, we do have a lot of time to think. We have opportunities to truly connect, because we might have been busy with that eat, sleep, repeat routine and rushing off to work. And if you see someone that you used to be connected to pop up on your news feed as, you know, a suggested friend, or whatever the case may be, or comments on a mutual friend's picture, I'm not talking to them, you know, it's whatever happened back in 2017, or whatever the case may be. We've got this time to think in many ways. We've got this time to review. We've had this time to truly look at the past and how it's paved our way, and that is the gift, Libra, of retrogrades. With Venus in retrograde, we're retrograding and reviewing all things to do with love and romance and fun and joy. The times that we did have fun with connections that perhaps even soured in the end, that challenged us in the end, that had to be let go of for one reason or another, that we had to say goodbye to, for circumstances, for whatever the case may be, because we had to put a boundary line down. You know, we all ascend and grow at our own rate, and sometimes as we go through ascension, you know, you can complicate that or simplify it as much as you like, but there is this death and ego breaking away, this letting go of the old version of you, and with that, naturally, friendships, connections, jobs, roles that you have played, in order to meet that level of yourself, you know, you were vibrating at a certain level that naturally vibrated with your environment, that resonated with certain individuals, you know. They met you on your path, in your journey, at that key point in your juncture for a reason. And then, as it is, as it were, we ascend, we grow, we change jobs, we change relationships and friendships. And no, sweetie, don't. Sorry, my cat's trying to come in. Stay there. No, don't. Otherwise, I'm going to have to press pause. Oh, she's putting her tail in the reading. Bless. Rosie, you need to just sit over there, darling. She's my Reiki cat. She loves to, when I used to work from home, well, like I'm working from home now, but when I had a healing room at home years and years ago, she would enter and grid the room before and after every client, you know. And she did that to the house. She does that to every house that I move into. She's my healing cat, and she does that. She's like a little a smudging tool, really. But she likes to connect in. So when I do my readings here on the table, she will often sit on the table before and after every time I've been here to re-grid. She is a little crystalline being. Okay, enough about Rosie. Maybe the name Rosie is relevant to you. Maybe the name Rose is relevant to you. Maybe Reiki is relevant. Maybe your healing journey, your path as a healer, intuitive, is relevant. as you stepped into that service role, you lost certain friendships, which are now perhaps you're coming in to a realization that as you grew, so too did your opportunity to extend and meet new souls, meet new connections, make new relationships, you know. It's all part and parcel, Libra, of this journey, and we ultimately always come back around. You know what vision I keep seeing? You know when you see the weights that are suspended, and there's several of them, and they're all in sync, yeah, and then all of a sudden everyone's going off in different directions. It appears until there's harmony again, that everything is flowing. You know the one that I'm talking about? It starts off in flow, and then we all separate into our own unique journeys, yeah? It appears on the surface through our perception that we're separate and on a separate journey, but ultimately it is this, we're all suspended on that same beam, yeah? We're all walking that same path up the mountain, just at different points, and there is no in front of or behind. We are always, you know, the timeline is fluid. The past and future exist extensively, as does the now, you know. So I feel like I'm really connecting into Libras that are either reconnecting into connections that had long gone in the last few years, or Libras that are recently now going through some element of forgiveness after a time of grief, perhaps, where you're connecting now into humour about seeing the lighter side of some recent connections that may have broken away, fell away, for whatever the case may be, for whatever reason, okay? This was a time for you to truly surrender to that higher awareness, that higher view, and seeing things and using your imagination, more so connecting into the energy of creativity, and that is creating change, creating a new path, creating a new view of the path ahead, regardless of if you feel at this time in your life those connections and friendships are a part of your journey. They will definitely always come around in one way or another. All connections and the roles they play within our life are ultimately replaced. If that's what we're seeking on a soul level for our deeper growth, because we're wanting a partnership, we're wanting a friendship, we're wanting a best friend that we can talk to about this, that, and the other, you know, we will always find that again and again, Libra, you know, just in different faces and masks, because it's an extension of the one, it's extension of self, yeah? We're meeting ourselves time and time again, and yes, we meet our shadow too, so perhaps that's where this humour stuff comes in, because we're starting to see, perhaps for some of the Libras that I'm connecting into, that familiarity there, that I do remember that time when I was ignorant to the fact of X, Y, Z, insert whatever the case may be. You might be seeing yourself in another, despite the fact that at one point recently you perhaps disagreed fundamentally, and there was this element and need for forgiveness because of a breakdown, perhaps, you know. I also do want to say another strong frequency I'm picking up on is there are Libras that are connecting into soul fam at this time, soul family. You are vibrating at this higher level. You truly are surrendering into this ascension journey, this growth journey within yourself, because you're moving into peace. Make no mistake, this is high. I keep hearing Arcturian. This is high heart, higher vibrational energy with that, you know, with that beautiful peace energy. That's as you move forward from here, like look at the sacred geometry in that. So complex but so simple, you know, and if you actually look at it closely, it is the merging of a Merkaba, so an upright triangle and a down. Like follow the shapes. Can you see that? If that was movement, you're really merging, coming into this totalitarian understanding of your journey to date, of your connections thus far, of the deeper wisdoms that connections and friendships and romantic relationships even, you know, challenging connections in workplaces, whatever the case may be, Libra, the gifts, the angels that have crossed your path in human form, that have been a vital part of your journey, and how they've inspired you, even with something as simple as a message, as simple as an encouragement for you to truly keep going on your path, or they've brought humour into your life. You know, you're really surrendering to this higher flow and integration of higher knowing with your practical reality. You're seeing the gift. And I think that's something beautiful that's coming not just from the fact that this is forgiveness energy, but it really does, you know, this resentment. And we can hold resentment. I'm not saying that you're a bitter person. We can hold resentment that ultimately is a subconscious block to the emotional body, the energy body, the physical body, the soul, and true balance. We can hold resentment in many different forms that does on some level hold us back from that next level of abundance. Because what you're moving into, this is really high vibrational energy. Peace is, you know, awakening and to feel enlightenment is truly unique for us all. And you really are reaching a state of grace that is deeply peaceful because you've allowed this transmutation to happen. And I keep going with these soul cards. It took a lot of courage for you to face denial, perhaps, in the roles you've played, allowed the boundaries you did not put down within certain connections, or allowing yourself to speak your truth. This energy feels, you know, there's worry right underneath that. All of that normal Libran stuff when it comes to balancing and wanting harmony, not wanting to create conflict, you know. I'm talking to Libras in the last couple of months of readings that are really transmuting and allowing this process of transmutation to take place, Libra. You are surrendering to this journey that's allowing you crystal clear enlightenment. I'd be really interested to see what the tarot wants to say, because you're moving towards peace, my darling. You are moving towards peace, and the path has been forgiveness. And you know, in every sense of the physical reality that we live in, it's not about saying just forgive them. Like, you know, forgiveness spans the spectrum. Yeah, it could be because of slight mishaps. It could be because of misunderstanding. It could be because of deeper dark intentions on the behalf of another towards us. You know, forgiveness is not an easy energy to acknowledge and process. So applaud yourself on how far you've come, wherever that applies for you. And you know, I think more often than not, we can look at connections that have deeply challenged us and say, I can't, you know, there's something underneath all of that where we can't even forgive ourselves for allowing it to happen. And we might let that play out in many different ways. But underneath all that, you know, to be open-hearted to love and trust towards another, despite their intentions that we aren't aware of in that moment, that's still a choice to love. That's still a choice to trust. You know, you have chosen that higher frequency vibration. You have chosen that higher frequency vibration, even if it did lead you to some lower stuff. You know, it is the ebb and flow of life. We review here as well as we're reviewing down here. All of it is of purpose. Yeah, like this sacred geometry. All of it leads us to peace. And like I said about those suspension balls, you know, that movement, it all looks like it's harmonic, and then sometimes in the timeline it looks like everything's chaotic and, you know, traveling on different paths, but then we all ultimately fall back again in sync. And that life is like that. The healing journey is like that. The awareness unfolding of ourselves, the onion layers that we continually keep letting go of and unwrapping on ourselves, Libra, is like that. So I think we have to forgive ourselves for thinking that ascension and awareness and higher knowing must be this thing, and it's this destination that we get to. We must surrender to the process and be peaceful in our true integration, knowing that there is ebb and flow. It is the natural cycle and law of the universe, as it is in nature, as it is in life. This death and rebirth happens always. I said this in the Sagittarius reading, that, you know, when it comes to the end of life and we're facing the scales of Mat, you know, where the weight of our soul is weighed up with the weight of a feather, and how we're facing our trials and tribulation, our gifts and retributions and things that we're wanting to be forgiven for, so that our soul is ultimately the same weight as a feather that we can cross over then. You know, but that doesn't just happen once in our very existence. It happens all throughout our living reality, and that is the process of ascension. We are always ascending out of old paradigms, our old versions of ourselves, our old challenges, blocks, old levels of ego. And there's nothing wrong with ego. It is the navigation body that we need to see through as a human being, because we have chosen to incarnate to experience that. Yeah, we've chosen to experience those very human challenges, those very human emotions. Because if we were already ascended, if we were already well developed and enlightened, we wouldn't really be here, would we? We've chosen to be on this journey to continually remember. You know that I can speak about that stuff all day. Ascension doesn't have to be this complicated process. If I can say that I've ascended out of old versions of myself, old challenges, old blocks, then I am always ascending. I'm always processing that ascension energy and embracing and choosing it, yeah? Learning and knowing that every person, experience and challenge that has crossed my path has been chosen by me at some point long ago to get me to where I am today and to where I know I am heading. Let's take a look at the tarot, my love. That one wants to jump. The Four of Swords. You really are in retreat mode, coming unto self. And I feel like I'm speaking to Libras that are reviewing, and above you, in your view, you are viewing heartbreak, trauma in a whole new way. You are surrendering, you know, you are surrendering to peace. You are working through energies of forgiveness if there was a betrayal. With those Three of Swords up here that is suspended above you, that you allowed to sit above your head on some metaphoric level, you truly are coming into solitude. You know, this is peace. This is also a peace card. It's prayer, it's meditation, it's surrendering your swords, putting down and actively choosing to put down your guard. We can keep a guard up subconsciously, Libra. It doesn't have to be this, it doesn't have to look like anxiety, or, you know, it doesn't have to look like we're actively saying no because we're not ready to say yes. You know, it can happen subconsciously in behaviors and choices that we're making. Alrighty, let's take a look at your four quadrants. The first week of May, Four of Swords, King of Swords, the Knight of Wands. You might be reviewing something from your teenage years. You might be connecting into a youthful energy that is an Aquarian, Gemini or Libra. But when the King of Swords shows up, you know, there's no emotion that he cannot analytically process, and this is your energy. You know, actually, you know what, all of the zodiac so far in the readings have been connecting into their element. So there's a lot of sword elements here. You are move forward, you are wanting to passionately move forward or passionately move away from, Libra. Some form of heartbreak, some form of betrayal, some form of disappointment in the past. The last 3 years might have been a healing journey for you in some way. Okay, you might have been approaching a counsellor or a therapeutic advisor on some level, but really analysing and seeing things and being willing to see things from a mind level, and knowing that you have within your mastery and control the ability to make your mind your friend and your greatest tool and asset, because that's what you are. You can fundamentally rule the realms of the mind, Libra. You and the other elements, that is your strong suit, that is your strong capability at your core, you know. And a big part of that mastery is knowing what we're doing and the choices we're making when we're allowing that to actually work against our favor. But with the King of Swords here, you are mastering that ability. You are mastering the mind. You are mastering the gift of your ability to use your mind to your advantage, to create peace, to create a sense of retreat in yourself, away from things that might feel heartbreaking, away, you know. But it is also allowing you the opportunity to truly master your thoughts around old heartbreak at this time as well. I feel like you're connecting into a fire sign, a Leo, a Sagittarius, or an Aries. There's this, but I feel really drawn to your teenage years, or the last time you felt like you had that fire within you for drive, purpose, passion. that last time you felt like you were willing to just take a risk and passionately and boldly go for something. I think that's important to say. Maybe there was an idea, a dream, a goal, or something in youth that was a relevant time that you are now surrendering, forgiving, healing from, you are at peace with. Okay, a friendship, connection that was started in your teenage and youth years. Alrighty, the second week is the Chariot, the Page of Swords, and the Two of Pentacles. You might be connecting with a Cancer. Again, this is your sword energy. You're watching and waiting. July might be relevant as a time frame. I feel it's more of a time frame. Maybe last July, this July. Feeling watched, watching and waiting, wanting to communicate. Okay, but feeling like I was weighing something up here. Okay, I was really weighing up two paths. I was watching and waiting to see what might transpire in order to decide which way I definitely want to go. I do feel like there's this push-pull energy for you in the second week of May, Libra, that ultimately there's this drive. You want to move forward on something. You know that your path has been navigated, you know, quite abundantly with both the light and the dark lessons and wisdoms, yeah? You want to move forward, but I feel like there's this push-pull energy where you're navigating what to surrender, because you're juggling when the Two of Coins shows up, and you're watching and waiting when the Page of Swords shows up. Watching and waiting before you communicate, before you decide. You know, you might even be watching something that feels inspiring to you, but in order for you to move forward, there's an investment that needs to happen here. And this is where I feel that energy of surrender is coming into play too. Okay, you're needing to surrender to something here. So the other message of the Two of Coins when it shows up is that, you know, in order to get what we want, we must be willing to make an investment on some level. You know, it's that unraveling of the layers that I mentioned. It's that letting go, that forgiveness, that surrender energy. Okay. The third week, and I'll do a, you're really moving towards more peaceful waters and away from fear, okay? Away from the energies of the last 2 years that has made you perhaps feel like you needed to be on guard in regards to a friendship. There's, again, you're very strong in your reading, okay? There's a lot of air energy, a lot of fear, but you've been challenged to activate this divine drive energy thanks to the wands. You've been challenged to be practical in your investments and how you want this direction to go, these thoughts, this next step, this next action, this surrender process, reviewing this friendship, this connection. You've also been challenged, and you know, with the gift of your intuition, there's something inherently that is not being shared here. Whether you're not sharing something, someone's not sharing something with you, you trusted your intuition, you've moved towards more peaceful waters when it came to the last 2 years, when it came to something you were a little bit afraid of or not seeing clearly. And I feel like the need to say, just because others have chosen not to be honest with us, Libra, doesn't mean that we cannot continue to choose to be honest, because that's what we expect in return. The King of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. Do not hold yourself back from a beautiful new beginning, a beautiful... I feel like I'm speaking to someone that's wanting a refresh in a connection, because underneath all this, you know, it might even be an intimate connection. The Two of Cups is the start of a genuine emotional recognition of the other, okay? So in love, this is the minor arcana of the Lover's card, and directly underneath it is the Lover's card. You know, with Venus in retrograde, I know that there's going to perhaps be a lot of energy that looks like the past is coming back, and maybe in many ways it does. Maybe it is more of an energetic metamorphosis, Libra, for all of us, where we're really reviewing the last time we decided we wanted our connections to feel like divine love and genuine emotional reciprocity. Sure, when I look at this is definitely an intimate connection, whether it's someone we've been in a relationship for a while or it's only just beginning. I feel like I'm speaking to a couple of different Libras that are really surrendering into perhaps a past betrayal within a connection that was at one time everything that you had wanted, and something happened, a hiccup happened, maybe life got in the way, maybe we were traveling in two different directions, not communicating clearly, one being a little bit more youthful than the other perhaps. And when I say youthful, there could be an age difference, but it's more so about that emotional maturity, because this is emotional equality. We emotionally want the same things, we are speaking the same love language, and even if we don't have the same love language, I see you and you see me, and we respond in that same way. To get to this point after you've been trying to get away from this energy is vital towards happiness and that genuine surrender and peace, which is what your goal is this month. Yeah? Your goal this month is peace. You're wanting to integrate peace despite a betrayal, despite a disappointment, despite a misunderstanding. Like I said, when we're working with that energy of forgiveness, it can come in many different layers. Okay, that energy might be permeating within a current connection, within a past connection. You're truly processing and transmuting an energy that I feel it has subconsciously kept you blocked from this. Now, this is going to sound quite complex, but even if you have experienced deep betrayal in a friendship, in a workplace situation, and you've never essentially experienced it in your marriage or your relationship or whatever the case may be, that energy still permeates. Okay, look at this. Look, wow, what surrounds you? Okay, in your soul cards, I want to show you in the past, below you, above you, what is ahead. Now I've got that, so we've got a show in Australia called Play School, and they have this thing, or is it on Sesame Street? Because even the people in the US understand Sesame Street. Which window, which one is out of place, yeah? So they're all circles, forget the words, look at them, they're all circles. You are coming full circle by getting to the crux of the heart of the matter with this square that is within a circle, yeah? Look at the symbolism of shapes. It appears to be a circle, but it is a square. You must come to some sense of four walls, four corners of the world. You must balance the four elements of being within. The very first card that popped out for you was the Four of Swords, which is retreat, peace, meditation. You are suspended and reviewing the betrayal energy that is above, thanks to the Three of Swords, and you are surrendering, saying, I'm not going to keep letting this affect my choices moving forward. I'm not going to let this affect my connections, my sense of entitlement to genuine peace and connectivity and love. How many times do we allow the murkiness of past betrayal, pain and disappointments saturate our path moving forward, so that we start to see future connections, future friendships, future workplaces, future relationships, intimate relationships in the same light, despite the fact that those connections are completely new? Because it is us that is the mirror. It is us that's still carrying that frequency, that energy. You are surrounded by this circle of life, completion of the world. You have come full circle in this energy of betrayal. Now, and I keep wanting to say it, there's so many different, it could be a deep betrayal. It could be something that you think that you should have just let go and it doesn't bother other people. Betrayal is unique to us all. That Three of Swords energy is genuine heartbreak and disappointment and letting go. And it is a process, yeah? But like I was saying earlier, even if that energy of betrayal hasn't permeated an intimate relationship, because it was started or activated somewhere else, in a friendship, in a childhood relationship, whatever the case may be, it does still influence our sense of connection. Because if a connection has betrayed us at one point, there is a part of us subconsciously that withholds from surrendering to peace, from surrendering to that connectivity with another, with life, with our inherent creative ability to pave our own path. I just saw all these circles, and the one moving forward, yeah, is peace. And within that is that merging of the Merkaba triangle, like I said, the masculine and the feminine energies. You're moving towards this full integration, coming full circle. And really, this is deep. As a soul reading, you are in your element. There's a lot of swords here. You are in your element. You are mastering. What tops your reading is the King of Swords. You are mastering the mind, which is your strongest possibility and manifestation when it comes to you realizing your divine gift of the zodiac, of your element, of your suit. You've created these 4 walls. You've identified the 4 walls that make you who you are, the 4 elements of you, the 4 aspects of you, the 4 walls that you call home in order to truly surrender into this need to heal, this deeper understanding and higher wisdom of genuinely allowing forgiveness to infiltrate your being and the timeline. I keep feeling like I'm connecting to Libras like that. I haven't been betrayed. But I feel there is something here, as minor as you thought it was, you know, as insignificant. Maybe from a mind level you thought, no, I need to get over it. I'll move on. I'll just make this choice, and I'm going to leave that workplace, or I'll leave that relationship. I'm no longer that person's friend. I feel it subconsciously. You know, it might even be a soul contract, because when these 2 show up, whether it's an intimate relationship or not, it's a soul contract. Souls cross our path for a reason. I understand that this friend is in my life, or was in my life, for a reason. There is a key connection that has ultimately, fundamentally shaped your sense of self, your world. You are coming full circle. A karmic cycle is closing in many ways thanks to the retrograde energy, because there's deep recognition here. And if this has happened in a workplace environment, with a colleague, with a friendship, in your teenage years of how you initially decided to form connection, because when we're young, yeah, when we're 12, 13, our best friends are our everything. They are the most vital relationship. As we begin to disconnect from our parents, or whatever the case may be, our carers, our best friends become our everything. And maybe I'm drawn to your childhood, your teenage years particularly, because something was birthed there. A sense of connecting to that fun and fire and drive. Maybe something was taken, or you learnt back then that you had to give in order to get, or something had to be juggled. I don't know, but I'm feeling this energy, that you are coming full circle, Libra, in many ways, and I think this is even permeating subconsciously for you on some level, but it is affecting your intimate relationships, and has done. And this release, this letting go, this activation and integration of peace is only going to benefit intimate connections that already exist, or that want to come into your life, okay? Because it was actually about divine love, and that's what we're learning thanks to the retrogrades. When Venus goes in retrograde and Pluto goes in retrograde, we're swimming to the depths of what love has taught us in our lives, what love means for us, what connection and joy and romance and frivolity and fun, which is creative energy, yeah? What has it taught you when it comes to you connecting divinely with another and feeling genuinely seen and heard? And that happens in many different ways, within workplaces, within schoolyards, within our friendship circles, feeling like we need to put on a certain face, and I just want to be myself. Yeah, there's this recognition here. We're celebrating. The 6 of Wands is also a marriage card. Like, I feel I'm also speaking to Libras that are really coming into themselves, in the sense that they're being able to come to a resolution point within, so you're able to bring unification without, and meet connections that feel like this. Past life connections. Wow. There's that 4 again. You know, the 4 of Pentacles. There's a connection here you're really wanting to hold on to, because you cherish it. It is the culmination. It has been your pinnacle, your gift, your divine gift, that has been like the cherry on top. And if you don't have that connection yet, there's a lot of divine, devoted love that I'm picking up in these zodiac readings this month. And I feel like crying now. I'm speaking to a Libra that knows and can see that the person they are with or will be is that mirror to that deeper desire that they held once long ago. Yeah? This is so beautiful. Or you will be. There's a connection coming in. If it doesn't exist yet, it's coming. It's coming in, and it is a divine union. You know, maybe there was a connection in your past that taught you about the shadow aspects of yourself in order for you to truly recognize the light and divine aspects, so that whenever any connection crossed your path, you immediately recognize what it was going to teach you. And you saw that beauty there. You are experiencing that with some beautiful divine love, you know. This is amazing. This is actually so beautiful. Your childhood is relevant, the past is relevant, a connection that feels like it's from the past, a past life. Somebody from the past. This is also pointing to children and the birth of something new. June is significant, guys. So too is Cancer season for you, because it has shown up strongly. You will be celebrating. There will be a coming together and a victory in some way. You close your reading with the King of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. You know, in order to experience true commitment to stability, to working towards the dynasty, whatever that case may be, financial freedom, success in business, in self, intangibility, intangible form, wanting commitment, I'm committing to my new path, my new journey, this connection, I'm reconnecting, you know, and committing to that. In order to do that, we had to recognize the gift that was the Ace of Wands. And sometimes a gift is knowing, if I add 9 and 1 together, that's the 10 of Wands. Sometimes the gift is knowing that we're ultimately carrying this 10 of Wands burden that we no longer have to carry. We can forgive, we can surrender, we can release, and truly see that connections, every single thing that happened exactly as it needed to get us to where we are today. This process of forgiveness can take a long time, but I feel like I'm speaking to Libras that have come full circle. In your journey, in your life, within a marriage, within a connection, within the way you date and relate and connect to friendships, and the way you allow yourself to open up and experience trust and vulnerability. You are arriving to a place and point of peace with everything that has happened before, and you are committing to the things that make you feel like they light your fire. They are divine gifts. You've got a divine gift coming up here, okay, that is here for the long term. I'm really speaking to Libras that are walking into commitment, that are walking into meeting someone that vibrates at this divine love frequency, a true soulmate. Friendships have to happen. Maybe you have already just recently met them. I understand that they are in my life for a reason, Libra. Someone is just like resonating with you on many, many levels, you know? And if that, like I said, if it's not here yet, it very well soon will be. This is also the pregnancy card. It's also a very, very phallic symbol. It's divine fun, yeah? That is here to stay, this activation energy. You know, don't hold back. Don't hold yourself back, because when the Nine of Wands shows up, we're holding back on some level. Your journey, your journey as the wounded healer, your journey that had wounded you, has also healed you to this elevated point, okay? There's a story you can tell. There's an idea, perhaps, that you're coming into that's activating this long-term stability, where you can tell your story and see for yourself how holding yourself back was not really a good beginning, in a sense. Yeah, you're wanting this beginning energy the whole time, but yet held yourself back on some level. You're committing to new energy, this activation energy, this creative energy. Watch what happens over the next week for you, because I feel like that's significant. The last 9 weeks have been significant for you, Libra. I can keep going. there's lessons here of love, intimacy, connection, friendship, opening to trust and communication, stating boundaries, forgiving ourselves for choosing to be all of those things despite the fact that someone was perhaps not like that with us in the past. We are truly letting go with love some frequencies and timelines that no longer resonate. And if the past comes back for review, it is simply that. Sure, things can get reactivated in a friendship. I do see that here. You can have a new beginning again with an old connection. But more often than not, we're reviewing our journey. We're reviewing the past and retrograde season and the wisdoms and everything we've learned about who we are and what our higher ideals are. Okay? You are moving towards peace. You are coming full circle in many different ways. And if you are in an existing connection, this is like a reactivation, you know, a remembrance, of, you know, the gifts that we have always been to each other too. So surrender to peace, Libra. You have come full circle. This is a beautiful reading. It is so deep as well as it is purifying. You know, it feels peaceful in many ways. What an amazing month. So the retrograde season shouldn't shake you, bake you, or have to wake you up too much. I feel like you've been doing a lot of internal work already. It is divinely beautiful and divinely blessed. There's a lot of laughter and fun times here. So surrender to anything that vibrates at those higher frequencies is what I want to say. Laughter, joy, peace. Anything that brings those states within yourself and around you, within your environment, surrender that. Yeah? All right, my darling Libras, thank you for being here. I hope you found some resonance in your message. If so, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.